This is from the New York Times. Listen to this. In a fiery speech moments before the vote, Senator Lamar Alexander, Republican of Tennessee and a former education secretary himself, criticized his Democratic colleagues for opposing Ms. DeVos, accusing them of opposing her because she was nominated by a Republican president. Oh, of course, Lamar. What other reason could there be, you dumb shit? Whatever reason could there be? They didn't want her because she was nominated by a Republican president. It was Lamar who he was the chairman of the committee that passed her name out for a full Senate vote. Lamar said that she had been, his words, at the forefront of education overhaul for decades. She led the most effective public school reform movement over the last few years. If they're talking about Detroit specifically, or Michigan in general, this woman, not through her actions, but with her money, hundreds of thousands of dollars that went not just to the committee members who voted for her approval or to pass her name out to the Senate, full Senate, but in the state of Michigan. There's probably not a Republican legislator in Michigan who hasn't had his hand out to the DeVos family and had it greased with this filthy goddamn Amway money. If you sell Amway, shame on you. Shame on you. If you have anything to do with Amway, shame on you. It's a pyramid scheme, and it's funding fascism. Maybe you don't care about that. And the Democrats, this is sad. Listen to this. Lacking the votes to block Ms. DeVos, Democrats realized there was little they could do, having exhausted every legislative option to slow consideration of her nomination. Democrats held vigil in the final 24 hours, like I said, pajama party, before her confirmation vote, coming to the Senate floor throughout the night and into the morning to restate their objections. Oh, my God. Now, of course, when they're restating their objections, they're talking to an empty chamber. Oh. Senator Patty Murray of Washington, the top Democrat on the committee that approved DeVos, and a former educator herself, urged her disheartened colleagues and advocates this morning not to think of their efforts as a waste. Miss Murray said, quote, "It's made an impact here and made a difference. And I think it's woken each of us up in this country to what we value and what we want," end quote. And at that point, I just started, my gag reflex kicked in. What kind of bullshit is that? Oh, don't be disheartened. Try not to think of our efforts as a waste. It's made an impact. It's woken each of us up in this country to what we value and what we want. Oh, for Christ's sake. This is why the Democratic Party is disappearing. It's full of this kind of bullshit. Oh, my God. David Kirkland, according to the Times, who's a professor of education at New York University, and he has studied DeVos's impact in Michigan, he said he feared that she could badly hurt public education across the country and pull resources out of schools in need of federal funding. Professor Kirkland said, quote, her extensive conflicts of interest and record of diverting money away from vulnerable students and into the pockets of the rich make DeVos completely unfit for the position for which she was just confirmed. But we don't have that lying bitch, Hilary. Yes! Oh, we just, can you imagine the chaos if she would have got those 77,000 votes in Ohio and Michigan and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, huh? Thank God the astute voters in those 4 states had the good sense to not vote for her. Yes, bless you, my children. Bless you. DeVos has said that she's going to dismantle big chunks of the Obama administration's legacy, including a rule that denies federal students aid money to for-profit colleges where graduates study to get jobs. She wants the for-profit colleges to flourish. I mean, what does it cost now to go to Harvard for a year, an undergraduate year? 40, 45,000, 35, what does it cost? Trump University costs 35,000. And these for-profit so-called schools cost about the same as going to Harvard, but you come out of them with a degree in horsefuck, which is nothing. It doesn't mean a thing. And you can't get a job, but you are nailed for 35 grand plus interest in your student loans. A lot of people who believe in solid public education now have said that they're going to demonstrate at her public appearances at forums and schools. Now, the only way to handle this, you know, I'm screaming and yelling here, which doesn't amount to a pocket of air. It's just me venting. The way to fight Betsy DeVos is to run for your local school board. That's right. Get off your ass. Get out there with a notebook, a clipboard, and a pen. Get some petitions going, whatever your county requires, to get your name on the ballot. You've got clear until next November or the November after that. It depends on your district. But that's what you can do. You going to do it? Huh? Or are you going to sit here every night and listen to my ranting and raving? Run for the school board. Go ahead. Lily Garcia, president of the NEA, National Education Association, said her union would tap into the database of advocates for good education that they built during DeVos's confirmation process to help keep her in check. Now, she's already been confirmed, but she means now that she's been elected. Ms. Garcia said, quote, as soon as she does something alarming, it will be known, it will be seen, she won't be able to hide, end quote. DeVos represents a multitude of potential pitfalls, but these Christian Republicans, they don't give a shit. They don't like this public education crap anyway. Can you imagine Mike Pence sitting in a class where carbon dating on a rock discovers that the rock is 360 million years old? No, you can't, because that would never happen. But DeVos's background, she's a Republican fundraiser, and she has donated out of her own or her husband's deep well of money, $200 million. $200 million to Republican candidates and Republican causes, including the senators who voted for her. That shit doesn't mean a thing anymore. Doesn't mean anything. Oh, yeah, and you might be aware that her family, the DeVos family, with all the weirdos that exist in it, have made enormous contributions to groups that support that so-called conversion therapy for gay people. And she's another one like Steve Bannon, who I'm sure recommended her. She says that government sucks. That's her word. Oh, my goodness. Out of your pretty little Christian mouth, Miss DeVos, really? Sucks? What would you know about sucking, Betsy? Yeah, maybe she knows a lot. And the public schools, in her words, are a dead end. Public schools are a dead end. You know, Molly has gone to public school her entire life. I went to public school. You went to, well, you had private school for a couple of years, but you graduated public school. And I don't think it's a dead end at all. The problem, in so many instances, is not the teacher. It's the conditions from which the kid arrives at school every morning. And Republicans don't give a shit about that. Poverty, addiction, joblessness, they don't care. Read your goddamn Bible. In one notable exchange, and you may have seen this, it spread all across the internet. Senator Tim Kaine, remember him? The one that was running with, thank God we didn't elect her, too. He asked Ms. DeVos whether all schools that receive public money should have to follow the requirements of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. That's the landmark 1975 civil rights legislation. And under that law, that federal law, states and school districts are required to provide special education services to children with disabilities. You know how she answered? She said, well, that issue is best left to the states. What? That's best left to the state. She didn't have a goddamn clue that is a federal law that's 42 years old. Al Franken, Democrat of Minnesota, said, quote, it was the most embarrassing confirmation hearing that I have ever seen. He added, quote, if we cannot set aside party loyalty long enough to perform the essential duty of vetting the president's nominees, what are we even doing here? End quote. Good question, Al. Good question. But it's your Democratic Party, Senator Franken, that is gutless, afraid of its own shadow. Yeah. All right. Play me some music, Kathy, so I can take a quick little break here, if you would. I've got to go wash my mouth out with soap. I spent the last 15 minutes using just about every cuss word I can think of. And as usual, I apologize. We'll be back.